Can I ask you something personal? Have you ever loved someone so much that the thought of surprising them made your heart race more than anything you've ever done for yourself? I mean, really think about it. Not a casual gift, not a polite gesture, but the kind of surprise where you stay up at night planning it, where every detail matters, where you're almost nervous, because what you're about to give them is everything. Because they mean everything. Now hold that feeling, because what I'm about to share with you today is exactly that kind of story. And the one doing the surprising is not who you might expect. Stay with me. My name is Jonathan, and if you found this video, I don't think that's an accident. I think something brought you here today. Maybe you're searching for something. Maybe you're in a season of life where things feel a little uncertain, a little quiet, or maybe even a little broken. Or maybe you're in a good place and you just have this quiet hunger for more depth, more meaning, more of something you can't quite name. Whatever brought you here, I want you to know you are exactly who this story is for. Because today I want to talk to you about the greatest surprise ever arranged in human history. A surprise that was planned before you took your first breath. A surprise that was designed with you in mind, with your name already written into it. A surprise so extravagant, so personal, so completely unexpected, that even now, thousands of years later, people are still trying to wrap their minds around it. And by the time we get to the end of this, I believe something in you is going to shift. I really do. So let's begin. I want to take you back, way back to a time and a culture that feels very far from where we live today, but is actually closer to the human heart than almost anything you'll read in a history book. Ancient Israel, a world of dusty roads and olive groves, of wells and marketplaces, of families living close together, and traditions that ran so deep they were almost like breathing. In that world, when a young man wanted to marry a woman he loved, there was a process. A beautiful, layered, deeply meaningful process that most of us today have completely lost touch with. And I think understanding this process, really understanding it, is going to open something up for you. It started with the father, a young man who had found the one his heart loved. And that phrase, by the way, comes directly from the Song of Solomon, from a poem written by a king who understood desire and longing like few people ever have. That young man would go first to his own father. He would say, "I have found her, she's the one." And his father, if he agreed, would begin to arrange everything. Now here's the first thing I want you to sit with. The young man didn't go to the woman first. He went to his father. There was an order, a process, a way of doing things that honored both families, that brought wisdom into love, that made the whole thing sacred rather than just emotional. There's something in that I think we've lost, because we live in a world where love is often something we stumble into and stumble out of just as fast, where commitment is conditional, where promises come with asterisks, where forever sometimes means for now. And I think deep down, all of us, every single one of us, is longing for something more solid than that. Something that can hold, something that won't crack under pressure. And I think that longing is actually a clue. It's pointing somewhere. But let me stay with the story first. So the father and son would go together to the home of the young woman. They would sit down with her family, and the young man would make what was called a covenant, a formal witnessed binding agreement. He would present a bride price, and I want to stop here for a second because that phrase can feel strange to modern ears, but please don't let it throw you. The bride price was not a transaction. It wasn't buying someone. It was an act of honor. It was the young man saying to her family, "She is worth everything I have. Her value is beyond calculation, and I am willing to demonstrate that with everything I possess." Can you imagine being on the receiving end of that? Can you imagine someone standing up in front of your whole family and saying, "She is worth everything I have"? After the bride price was agreed upon, there was a ceremony. A cup of wine was poured, a single cup shared between the two of them. And this sharing of the cup was no small thing. It was a symbol of their shared life, their shared future, their shared covenant. She would drink, he would drink. And in that moment, everything changed. They were betrothed. Now, I need you to understand what betrothal meant in that world, because it was not what we call engaged today. Today, an engagement is a promise with an exit. You're engaged, and then if things go sideways, you call it off and life moves on. But betrothal in the ancient Jewish world was binding. It was legally and spiritually as serious as marriage itself. You were already considered husband and wife in every meaningful sense. The only thing that hadn't happened yet was the celebration, the going home together, the life that would follow. And now here's where it gets really interesting. After the betrothal, the young man would do something that must have felt absolutely impossible for someone in love. He would leave. He would go back to his father's house, and he would start to build. He would begin constructing an addition onto his father's home, a bridal chamber, a place where he and his bride would live together when the time came. And this wasn't a quick project. This took months, sometimes a year or more, sometimes even longer. And while he was building every day with his hands and his hope, she was waiting. She didn't know exactly when he was coming back. She only knew he would. And during that season of waiting, she would do something remarkable. She would keep her lamp burning. Every night she would make sure there was oil in her lamp because she didn't know which night it would be. He might come in the afternoon. He might come at midnight. He might come at the first hint of dawn when the world was still half dark and half light. She didn't know, but she would be ready because she trusted him, because he had made a covenant, because he had shared the cup, because he had paid the price. And when the time finally came, when his father looked at the chamber his son had built and said, "Yes, it is ready, go," the young man would gather his closest friends and they would head toward the village. And often, just often enough to be part of the tradition, someone would run ahead and shout a warning, a kind of announcement. "The bridegroom is coming! The bridegroom is coming!" And she would grab her lamp and her heart would leap, and all those months of waiting, all those nights of keeping the oil filled, all that faithful, patient, burning love, it would come rushing together in one overwhelming moment. He came back, just like he said he would. Now, I need to stop here, because this isn't just a history lesson. This isn't just a piece of ancient cultural context. This is the story. What I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes is going to completely change the way you see everything I just described. And I mean everything. Because about 2,000 years ago, a young Jewish rabbi sat with his closest friends at a dinner table, and the world was pressing in around them. There was tension in the city. There were whispers of plots and betrayals. The air was heavy with something none of them could fully name yet. And in the middle of all that weight, this rabbi did something extraordinary. He picked up a cup of wine, and he said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood." I want you to feel that moment, not rush past it. Sit in it for just a second. Because if you know anything about ancient Jewish wedding customs, and now you do, you know exactly what he was doing. He was not just making a theological statement. He was not delivering a lecture. He was not being poetic. He was making a proposal. He was initiating a covenant. He was saying, "I have found the one my heart loves, and I am willing to pay the price." His name was Jesus. And the ones he was looking at across that table, they were you. They were me. They were every broken, searching, hoping, doubting, longing human heart that would ever walk this earth. And in that moment with that cup, he was saying, "You are worth everything I have." Think about that for a second. Let it land. Because what came next was the price. He left. He went through something so painful, so devastating, so completely beyond what language can contain that every attempt to describe it falls short. He went to a cross. He went willingly. He went knowing exactly what it would cost. And in doing so, he was building something. He was paying something. He was saying with his life what he had said with the cup. "You are worth everything I have." And then, after the cross, after the tomb, after 3 days that must have felt to his friends like the end of every hope they had ever carried, he rose. And before he left again, before he went back to his father's house, he said something to his friends that I want you to hear with fresh ears today. I want you to hear it not as a religious quote you've heard 100 times, but as a bridegroom speaking to the one he loves. He said, "I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also." Did you hear that? I go to prepare a place for you. He went back to his father's house. He is building. He is preparing. He is getting everything ready. And he will come back. Not maybe. Not if everything goes according to plan. He will come back just like he said he would. And we are the bride. We are the ones with the lamp. We are the ones in the season of waiting. We are the ones who don't know the exact day or the exact hour. The scripture is very clear about that. Even Jesus said, "No one knows the day or the hour, not even the angels in heaven, but my Father only." That's not an accident. That's part of the design. Just like the bride kept her lamp burning every night because she didn't know which night he would come, we are called to live with that same beautiful, awake, expectant love. Not anxious, not frantic, but ready, burning. I want to pause here for just a moment and be honest with you about something. Because I know there are people watching this right now who are in a hard season. People who have been waiting for a long time and the waiting has started to feel less like anticipation and more like abandonment. People who lit their lamp at the beginning and somewhere along the way, the oil started to run low. Maybe not because you stopped believing, but because life happened, because disappointment accumulated, because prayers felt unanswered, because you've been faithful in all the quiet, unseen ways, and sometimes faithfulness in the dark is the most exhausting thing in the world. If that's you, and I think for many of us it is, at least in seasons, I want to say this gently and honestly. He hasn't forgotten you. The waiting is not abandonment. The waiting is part of the covenant. The waiting is what the bride does when she trusts the bridegroom. And I know that's easy to say and hard to live. I know. But can I tell you something that helped me? The bridegroom in that ancient tradition wasn't sitting in his father's house doing nothing. He was working, building, preparing. Every single day, he was thinking about her. He was building the place where she would live. Everything he was doing in that season of separation was for her. And I believe with everything in me that what feels like silence, what feels like waiting, what feels like unanswered prayer is actually building. Something is being prepared. Something is being made ready. And the one preparing it, he has not forgotten your name. There is a verse in the book of Isaiah that I've come back to more times than I can count. And it's this: can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has borne? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Engraved on his hands. You want to talk about a bride price? You want to talk about what you are worth to him? He has your name in his hands. Literally. The wounds that were the price of the covenant, they carry your name. That is not a small thing. That is not a casual love. That is the most extravagant, costly, all-in love that has ever existed. And you are the one who stole his heart. Now, I want to take a moment and zoom out because I think sometimes when we talk about faith in Scripture, we can get so focused on the theological precision that we forget the wildly, almost embarrassingly personal nature of what God is actually saying to us through these ancient texts. The Song of Solomon is one of the most misunderstood books in the entire Bible. Some people are almost offended that it's in there. It's passionate. It's romantic. It's unabashedly about desire and longing and love. And for centuries, theologians have read it as an allegory. The lover as God, the beloved as his people, the whole poem as a picture of divine romance. And I think they're right. But I also think that maybe in our rush to turn it into allegory, we sometimes lose the visceral, human, beating heart reality of it. Because God chose to describe his love through the most intimate human experience we have. He didn't choose a legal document. He didn't choose a business transaction. He chose a love poem. He chose the language of longing and delight and desire because he wanted us to understand that his love for us is not cold or administrative. It is warm. It is personal. It is passionate in a way that should honestly take our breath away. Listen to this from chapter 3. By night on my bed I sought him whom my soul loves. I sought him, but I found him not. I will rise now and go about the city, in the streets and in the squares. I will seek him whom my soul loves. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like prayer? Does that sound like those nights when you're lying awake and your soul is reaching for something it can't quite touch, and you're not even sure what you're looking for? You just know there's a longing in you that nothing on earth has been able to satisfy? That longing is not a problem. That longing is a clue. It's the soul of the bride recognizing that her bridegroom has not yet fully come. It's the ache of the almost but not yet. And that ache, that holy restlessness, is actually a gift because it keeps us reaching. It keeps us awake. It keeps the lamp burning. And here's something that wrecks me every time I think about it. He's searching too. Luke chapter 15. 3 parables in a row, all about the same thing. A sheep that gets lost. A coin that goes missing. A son who runs away. And in each parable, what does the one who lost something do? They search. They sweep the whole house. They light a lamp. They don't rest until what was lost is found. And when it's found, when that one lost thing comes home, there is a celebration that seems almost disproportionate. There's music. There's dancing. There's a party that the neighbors are invited to. The angels in heaven rejoice, Jesus says, over one sinner who repents. One, not a stadium full. One person, one heart turning back toward home, and heaven throws a party. You are not a number. You are not a category. You are not one of 7 billion. You are the lost sheep that he left the 99 to find. You are the coin that was so valuable that the whole house was turned upside down, searching for you. You are the child whose return throws the whole household into celebration. That is who you are to him. And I want to ask you something right now, and I want you to actually sit with it for a moment. Don't just let it wash over you. Really ask yourself, what would it change in your life? If you actually believe that, if you actually lived from that, not as a theological proposition, not as something you say you believe on Sunday, but as the operating reality of your daily life, that the God of the universe is searching for you with the same love that turns a whole house upside down for a single lost coin, that the same hands that hold the stars in place have your name written on them, that you, yes, you, exactly as you are, in whatever season you're in, with whatever you've done or left undone, you stole his heart. What would that change? I think for most of us, if we're honest, it would change almost everything. Because so much of the exhaustion, so much of the striving, so much of the performance and the shame and the trying harder comes from not really believing we are loved like that. We believe it in our heads, maybe. But somewhere in our gut, we're still operating like we have to earn it, like we have to be good enough. Like the bridegroom is going to come back and look at us and go, yeah, I'm not sure you kept the lamp burning well enough. I'm not sure you deserve the celebration. But that's not the story. That's not the covenant. That's not the cup he lifted and shared. The cup says, I chose you before you were worthy of choosing. The cross says, I paid the price before you knew you needed saving. The empty tomb says, death itself could not stop me from coming back to you. This is the surprise. This is the thing that was being prepared while you were waiting. This is the love that was written into the fabric of creation before you took your first breath. This is what the whole story, from the garden to the cross to the empty tomb to the promised return, has been building toward. Not a doctrine, not a religion, not a set of rules, a wedding, a reunion, a celebration that has been in the making since before time itself. And you are the guest of honor. I want to share one more piece of this with you before we land, because there's something in the ancient wedding tradition that I haven't told you yet, something that might be the most beautiful detail of all. When the bridegroom finally came back for his bride, when the shout went out and the lamps were lit and the procession began, there was a moment, usually after the wedding ceremony itself, when the couple would enter the bridal chamber that the young man had spent all those months building, and the door would close, and they would be alone together. And it was in that private, intimate space that the fullness of the covenant was finally realized. Not just the ceremony, not just the promises, the presence, the closeness, the being together at last. And I genuinely believe that this is where the whole story is heading. Not just heaven as a concept, not just eternal life as an abstraction, but presence, the kind of presence where there is no more separation, no more waiting, no more lamp burning in the dark, wondering when he'll come. The kind of presence described in the book of Revelation. And I know Revelation can feel like a strange and overwhelming book, but listen to how it ends. Just listen to how it ends. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. He will wipe away every tear, not a servant, not an angel, him, the bridegroom himself, looking into your eyes, taking your face in his hands that still carry the marks of the price he paid, and wiping away every tear, every grief, every loss. Every night you kept the lamp burning and wondered if it was worth it. Every prayer that felt like it disappeared into silence. Every moment when you wanted to give up but didn't. Every ache and longing and almost. He will wipe it away. Himself. That is not a metaphor I want to rush past. That is the most intimate, tender, personal gesture I can imagine. And it's the ending of the whole story. A God who does not send someone else. A God who comes himself. A God who has been planning this surprise since before the beginning of time. A God whose heart was stolen is stolen by you. And you know what I find almost unbearably moving about all of this? He's not surprised that you're coming. He's been waiting for you. He's been building for you. He's been preparing the place. He knows your name. He knows your face. He knows every piece of you, the parts you're proud of and the parts you hide. And none of it changed his mind. None of it made him put down the cup. None of it made him stop building. He is still building. The preparation is still happening. And one day, not maybe, not if, one day the Father will look at what has been prepared and say, it is ready, go. And the shout will go out. And every lamp that has been faithfully burning, every heart that has been faithfully waiting, every soul that has loved him, even in the seasons when love felt like work and not feeling, All of it will come rushing together in one overwhelming, beautiful, irreversible moment. He came back, just like he said he would. Before I close, I want to ask you something. I want you to think right now about where you are with all of this, not where you think you should be, not where you used to be. Right now, today, in this moment of your life, is your lamp burning? Is there still oil? Are you living in that place of expectant love, not perfect, not without questions, but oriented toward Him? Trusting the covenant even in the waiting? Or have you let the oil run low? Have you been waiting so long that the waiting has turned into something else? Maybe doubt, maybe distance, maybe just the slow drift that life brings when we're not paying attention. And you, what do you feel when you think about this? When you sit with the image of a God whose heart you have stolen, a bridegroom who is building a place for you right now, a love that paid a price beyond calculation, what comes up in you? Is it warmth? Is it longing? Is it grief because somewhere along the way you stopped believing it could possibly be true for someone like you? Write it in the comments, honestly. Whatever comes up, I genuinely love to read it because I think there are more people than we realize who are carrying something about this that they've never said out loud. And sometimes the most powerful thing is just to say it, to name it, to bring it into the light. Here's what I want to leave you with. The God of the universe is not a distant force or an indifferent judge or a cosmic rule keeper waiting for you to get everything right. He is a bridegroom. He is a lover of your soul. He is the one who looked at you, knowing everything, seeing everything, and lifted the cup anyway. He is the one who paid the price anyway. He is the one who is building right now, today, while you're watching this video, in whatever room you're in whatever city, in whatever season of joy or grief or confusion or hope. He is building for you. And if you have never entered into that covenant, if you have never shared the cup, never said yes to the love that's been pursuing you since before you were born, then I want to invite you to consider that today. Not with pressure, not with a formula, just with an open hand and an honest heart. You could say something as simple as, I don't fully understand all of this, but I want to. I want to know this love. I want to say yes to the covenant, and I trust that you are who you say you are. That's enough. That's always been enough. The bridegroom doesn't need you to be ready. He makes you ready. He just needs the yes. And if you've been walking with him for years, if you're in the long, faithful, sometimes exhausting season of keeping the lamp burning and waiting and trusting, then let this be the thing you carry with you today. He hasn't forgotten. He hasn't changed his mind. He isn't running late. Everything is happening exactly as the Father has planned. And the place being prepared for you, it is more beautiful than anything you have yet imagined, because that's who he is. He doesn't do small. He doesn't do forgettable. He does extravagant. He does a party that heaven itself attends. He does a love that death couldn't stop. He does a surprise that's been in the making since before time began, and it is for you. All of it. Every single piece of it. For you. He stole your heart. That's beautiful. But I want to tell you the more astonishing truth. You stole his first, and he wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you for being here with me today. If this touched something in you, share it. Send it to someone who needs to hear it. Let it be the thing that starts a conversation you've been meaning to have, and come back. There's more to explore, more stories to tell, more of this inexhaustible love to sit with together. I'll see you soon.